As a socialist and as an advocate for New York's working people in the New York State Senate, my top priority this year is to make sure our state taxes the rich to fully fund our needs. Even before this current pandemic and economic crisis, New York was already among the cities with the most inequality in the country. Now, on top of the rampant housing insecurity, displacement, and gentrification that we were already experiencing, this pandemic has been hitting communities of color and working class neighborhoods the hardest. We urgently need to fund social housing, public services, universal health care, and green jobs. The logic of business as usual politics is that tax revenues have plummeted and the budget deficit has grown, and so we are told that working people and the poor simply have to survive with even less. But socialists need to stand against business as usual politics. We need to make sure that this crisis is not a burden placed on the backs of working class people. Billionaires have increased their wealth by a stunning $1 trillion during this crisis. That's why I introduced a Wall Street tax bill to tax stocks and bonds that would raise $12 billion a year for our state. And it's also why I'm standing in solidarity with Seattle City Council member Shama Sawant. Shama has spent every moment of her 7 years in elected office standing up to corporate bullies like Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon. Movements and grassroots victories are interconnected. We saw that in 2019 when a coalition of New York's working people defeated Amazon's attempt to take $3 billion in public dollars as corporate welfare. The movement victory here helped inspire the movement that Shama led last summer in Seattle, winning the historic Amazon tax in order to fund housing and a Green New Deal. That Seattle victory further supports our fight here for economic justice in New York by showing us what's possible and rejecting the narrative that the needs of working people must be sacrificed on the altar of profit and capital. And that's why defeating this unjust recall attack against Shama Sawant matters, not only to working people in Seattle, but also here in New York. This is an attack on the left as a whole, and our solidarity together is crucial, especially in the wake of the horrific right-wing spectacle that we witnessed in DC last month. The failures of capitalism are on hideous display through this crisis, and it is radicalizing people. While more people are openly identifying as socialists, what we witnessed in DC also shows the need for those of us on the left to continue fighting against harmful right-wing ideology. We cannot allow right-wing attacks to succeed in overturning the democratic will of voters in Seattle. The billionaires and real estate moguls who wield power in our state would delight in the idea that they could simply spend a few $1,000,000 in the courts so that they too could circumvent democracy and cast off socialists and legislators who challenge their agenda. This year, I'm grateful that our socialist representation in Albany grew from one state senator to a slate of 6 socialists in the state legislature. At the federal level, the elections of Representative Cori Bush and Representative Jamal Bowman in Congress show that working people across the country are eager to build this movement to win Medicare for all, a Green New Deal, and much more. I'm standing in solidarity, shoulder to shoulder with fellow socialists to build the future that our people so desperately need. And I stand in solidarity with Shama Sawant against the racist right-wing attacks against her.